Long, long ago, in a time before the sky held its light, the sun was a king who walked the earth. He lived in a magnificent palace on the savannah, a house made not of stone or wood, but of pure, shimmering light. Its walls glowed like molten gold, and all around it wildflowers bloomed and hyenas laughed, warmed by its gentle heat. The sun himself was a glorious sight, a tall, glowing figure with fiery orange skin and a flowing mane of flames. His eyes were like warm amber, and he wore a crown of solar flares. He was generous and proud of his home, often inviting the animals to visit. One day, his dearest friend, the moon, came to see him. She was a graceful woman with silver skin and cool blue hair that shifted like the tides. As the sun proudly showed her his grand home, he boasted with a smile that lit up the plains, "My house is big enough for all." As twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and gold, a new visitor arrived at the palace gate. It was Water, a translucent, flowing being with rippling blue skin and a voice that sounded like distant waves. Within its form, you could see the faint shadows of fish swimming. Water knocked politely and asked, "May I visit with my people?" The sun, ever generous, never one to turn away a guest, threw his arms wide. "Come, my house welcomes all." The moon, standing beside him, nodded warmly, happy to see her friend's hospitality shine. It was a kind offer, but one made without a thought for what might come next. Water flowed gently into the palace, bringing with it the first of its people, tiny curious fish with expressive eyes, little crabs that skittered sideways, and wise old turtles. The golden halls of the sun-nest home began to reflect the blue ripples of Water as presence, making the light dance in new and beautiful ways. The palace glowed even brighter than before. The sun laughed, his voice booming with joy. "See? I told you! There is plenty of room for everyone." The moon, delighted by the new company, even began to dance with one of the small turtles, their movements playful and light. It was a happy beginning, a time when abundance felt infinite and friendship was a simple, joyful thing. But Water's people were many. Soon more began to pour into the palace. Sleek eels slithered through the halls, curious octopuses explored every corner with their tentacles, and even playful dolphins leaped through the air, splashing down into the rising tide. The water, which had been just a shimmer on the floor, was now ankle-deep. Then it rose to their knees. The beautiful furniture began to float aimlessly. The sun's confident smile faltered, replaced by a slight frown. Still, he tried to remain cheerful. "We'll manage," he declared. Though his voice lacked its earlier boom, the moon looked worried, her silver light reflecting on the ever-growing surface of the water. The hiss of the sun's flames touching the water was a quiet, unsettling sound. The problem was escalating, but denial was an easier path than action. Then the tide turned into a flood. In a rush, the water surged, swallowing everything. The palace became a swirling aquarium, and the golden walls of light began to flicker and crack under the immense pressure. Water, once a polite guest, now towered over them, its voice a booming echo. "I cannot stop my people." It apologized, its tone full of sorrow but helpless. The sun's glorious flames sputtered, threatening to go out completely. Seeing the danger, the moon grabbed his hand, her voice urgent. "We must leave," she cried. They had reached their limit. Their generosity had been overwhelmed, a hard lesson that even the deepest friendship must have boundaries. Gasping for air, the sun and moon scrambled out of their home just in time, climbing onto the roof as the last of the golden structure vanished beneath the waves. It was midnight. The world was dark and silent, save for the lapping of the water at the edges of their rooftop island. The stars above were reflected in the vast, dark ocean that had once been the savannah. The sun's light had dimmed to mere embers, his fiery mane extinguished. The moon's gentle glow flickered weakly. Together, they watched their beautiful home, their world, disappear. It was a moment of profound loss, but in that emptiness, something new was about to be born. As they sat in the quiet dark, a new light appeared in the vast, starry sky. Nebulae swirled like cosmic kente cloth, and a figure emerged of Larun, the sky god. He was a colossal, benevolent being with cloud-white hair and eyes like swirling galaxies. His voice was like thunder wrapped in silk. "Earth is no longer safe for you," he said gently. "Your home is gone, but I can offer you a new one. Come, live in my sky." Humbled and grateful, the sun and moon bowed. They had lost everything, but they were being offered refuge in a place far above their troubles. A lesson that sometimes salvation is found by rising above. Following Olorun, they ascended into the heavens. As dawn approached, the sky god guided the sun to the eastern horizon, parting the clouds like curtains. "Rise each morning," Olorun commanded, his voice full of power and promise. "Warm the world and give it your light." As he spoke, the sun's flames reignited, blazing brighter and more powerfully than ever before. He was no longer just a king on the savannah. He was the source of day itself. He smiled, a true, brilliant smile, as he looked down and saw the floodwaters on earth beginning to recede. His purpose had restored his power. Then Olorun turned to the moon. As dusk began to bleed indigo and silver across the western sky, he gently placed her there. "You shall follow the sun," he said, his voice now a soft whisper, "and light the night for those who wake in the darkness. Be a guide and a comfort." The moon, graceful as ever, began to trace a gentle arc across the sky, her flowing robe leaving a trail of silvery stardust. The stars winked in approval. Together, the sun and moon created a perfect balance, completing a cycle that would forever govern the world. Down below, the water, having learned its lesson, settled. It filled the great oceans and carved the paths of rivers. It became the gentle rain that nourishes the earth. From a distance, its voice was no longer a booming apology, but a contented whisper. "This is enough." Its people, the fish and the crabs, and all the creatures of the deep, leaped joyfully in their new, defined homes. From the great Niger Delta to the magnificent Victoria Falls, the waterways of the world found their place, sparkling under the sun's warm gaze. Contentment, they all learned, is what creates true and lasting borders. And so the world experienced its very first sunrise. As the sun rose gloriously over the horizon, animals emerged from their homes. Elephants, antelopes, and birds lifted their heads. A baby elephant trumpeted in pure delight as the world was filled with golden light and long, playful shadows. Every new day was a promise of hope. And when night fell, the first moonlit night bathed the savannah in a cool, silver glow. Termite mounds looked like silver castles. Owls hooted stories to one another, and a curious lion cub chased the moonbeams dancing on the ground. The night, they discovered, held its own special magic. The sun and the moon, though separated, were never truly apart. They lived in the same great house of the sky, forever chasing one another in a silent, cosmic dance. Sometimes, during a rare eclipse, they would seem to overlap for just a moment, and it's said they would wave to each other across the expanse. "Do you miss our old home?" the sun might ask, and the moon would reply, her voice a soft echo, "We have a much bigger one now." Their love and their story endured across any distance, and that story is still told today. Around fires, elders with wise eyes point up to the sky. That, they say to the wide-eyed children, is why the sun and moon live in the sky. And that is why the water, in all its might, stays below. The children gasp in wonder, tracing the constellations with their fingers, connecting the earth they stand on with the heavens above. It's the stories that bridge our world to the one beyond. And so, the eternal rhythm continues. The sun rises too warm, the moon arrives too cool, and the water flows to nourish. All of life moves in a beautiful harmony, a perfect balance that sustains the world. Every element has its place, and so it has been, and so it shall be. Thanks for watching.